Blazers. Game 3, of course, the big question was, could Victor Wembanyama go in concussion protocol? You see he's not in uniform, did not play. Blazers down a point in the second. Drew Holiday, he did play, and he played in a big way. Blazers take the lead. Then Denny Avdia drives and kicks to Scoot Henderson. Scoot had the big game 2, had 21 more in this one. Blazers up by 7. And then De'Aaron Fox driving, pops Denny Avdia in the face, who loses part of a tooth. And his offense was a little toothless, just 3 of 15 shooting in this one. Under 6 to go in the third. It's Holiday again, finds a 3 he likes. 29 points, 5 threes in the game for Holiday. Blazers up by 13. You figure they're going to take control of the series? No. Keldon Johnson, 6th man of the year for 3. Spurs cut it to 4. And then off the miss, Dylan Harper, 20 years old and sensational in this one, cuts it to 2. And Fox turning around in the paint. He had 18. Wemby's fired up. The Spurs up 1 after 3. And here comes Harper. Crossover and then rising up. 27 points for the rookie. Check it out again with the left. Spurs up 3. Wayne loving it. Candace Parker looking at him like, what are you screaming about? From the 20-year-old to the far more experienced 21-year-old, it's Stephon Castle. They're so good and so young.
So wise.
Yes. And then Castle again. No Wemby, no Biggie. The Spurs go to Portland and win Game 3 to grab a 2-1 series lead.
You know, I don't know if something flipped the game. I think we worked the game. I think we just stayed with it. They came out with tremendous energy. They made some shots. We missed some shots. You know, obviously there's some game plan stuff that we wanted to be sharp on. We turned the ball over a little bit. They got some stuff in transition. But I think all in all, when you zoom all the way out, I thought we kept working the game. And I thought, you know, over the duration of it, we just stayed with it. And we started getting incremental things that were going our way, whether we were starting to get a little bit more downhill offensively, the spacing got better, we started passing the ball to the open guy and letting the ball breathe a little bit and keep moving side to side. And then we stayed with some of the defensive effort, and they missed a couple shots, and, you know, maybe make or miss, but we cleaned it up with some rebounds, and I thought that really helped finish the possessions defensively and then flow offensively into some pace.
Miss Johnson did say he's unsure of Wemby's status for Game 4 Sunday. Spurs down 15 in the third, but wound up winning by double digits. It's their largest comeback in the postseason since Game 5 of the 2014 Finals against the Heat. The Spurs also won that.
Very interesting. I don't think he's going to play Friday.
Right.
So that means does he fly all the way out there to play the Sunday game at 12:30 local time? I'm not sure. Now, again, if you lose both, you're down 3-1. Then you're going to have to play a little Russian roulette 3 games in a row. Here's the thing I'd be a little worried about the Spurs. They got a 14-point lead. Was it 14 to 13? 14-point lead in the fourth quarter against Portland, who can't shoot against Portland. Win the game, okay? Win the game. I understand he's a great player and he's out, and I understand. Win the game. Don't put yourself in this situation. These are the Trailblazers who won 42 games. You got to put that game away, and you're building up by 14 points in the fourth quarter. I mean, it's not as bad as the Knicks, who obviously had everybody playing, or the Celtics, who got close and lost. But that was a very alarming thing, that they couldn't figure out a way to get enough baskets to hold Portland off, even without their best player. That would concern me. But I do think you'll see Wembanyama. I don't know if you. I think the key to me would be Game 4. They're not. I'd be shocked if he plays Friday night. Same here. Game 4 is the key. Now, listen, Portland's going to be good at home on Friday night. They're probably going to lose that game. Portland's going to be good at home. So that means if he don't play Sunday, you're 2-1 down. You might be playing for your life on Sunday afternoon, because even with Wembanyama coming back down 3-1, you're going to win 3 in a row, one of those on the road. That's not that easy.
Well, the average number of days missed is 9 with a concussion.
That's the good job.
Average number of days missed. Now, I'm looking at it, too. I'm thinking, okay, there's no way Friday night. If you're the Spurs, you're saying to him no, even if he wants. By the way, you know about flying in pain because you just did it. No. We don't know if he can fly. We don't know if he even will be cleared to fly. This is not like this series in San Antonio, Dallas, and you put him in a car and drive him. This is not that. So you look at the average number of days. Can they put him on the floor Sunday? But here's been my concern about San Antonio, and we talked about this yesterday on a number of shows. And I don't think San Antonio can win this year. I think they're going to win multiple championships. I think Wembanyama is going to win multiple MVPs. he's going to be the face and the energy of this league and of worldwide basketball for a long time. But it doesn't mean you're ready to do that without great disappointment first. The history of this league is you get your feelings crushed as a team. Russell, Magic, Tim Duncan, they're the only exceptions. Everybody else, including Larry Bird, Michael Jordan, LeBron James, Kobe with air balls against each other, they all get not just disappointment, but the disappointment that leaves them wanting to be in bed, covers pulled up until August. That's what San Antonio hasn't encountered yet. That game last night, Chris, they didn't know enough. They didn't know how to finish the game. Of course they wanted to. They're missing their best player. They're missing their leader. They did enough to get there, and they didn't know how to close. That game can haunt them because, as you mentioned, if you go now, you can't drop that second game in Portland and come back 3-1. We've seen most teams can't come back from that. So I think they're in a little more trouble depending on Wembanyama and whether he can get back, what they're willing to risk, Stephen A. It's a big risk to put him out there in concussion protocol. He was knocked out. When he was on the floor,
that was clear
he looked like he'd been hit by Mike Tyson in 1989. Shay didn't want me to go back.
Going back.
I just did that to annoy you.
Go back. Unless of course you're talking about Bruce Seldon, who got knocked out and never got hit. I mean, Tyson woofed by him.
We
and he
were
went
at too
down
many of those
and stayed
things.
down and then got up and hugged him at the count.
You think he's coming back Sunday?
No, not Sunday. Yes, I don't think that I agree with both of you. I don't think Wemby will be back Friday. I think it will raise too many suspicions on the part of the NBA and others. They're not going to let that happen. He can't come back Friday, not after what we saw last night. But I'm going to tell you something. I don't have San Antonio losing this series. I have them winning this series. I believe in De'Aaron Fox. I believe in Stephon Castle. I believe in Vassell. I believe in Barnes and these brothers. I mean, they can play now. These are not scrubs. It's just that you got somebody like Wemby that you can rely upon, so you do so. But they're capable of winning a game against Portland, who, by the way, entered these playoffs of the 16 teams as the most least offensive efficient team of the 16 teams. They had the least potent offense. Excuse me, I'm sorry. That's what happened, okay? Here's what I want to say about Portland, though. I love what I'm seeing. I'm going to be the first to say this. I love me some Scooter Henderson. He had 31 points last night. Shot about 65% from the field. I think hit like 5 or 9 3-pointers. Hit a couple in the first quarter. Hit one with about 2:43 left to pull them within one and really stymie their momentum. Remember, they neutralized San Antonio's offense late in the game. I forgot what it was that they held them to, but they was really struggling. And their top three scorers in San Antonio and Castle, Vassell, and Fox combined to shoot 36.5% shooting. Watching this game like Vassell. I don't know I said Vassell. Vassell.
Because it rhymes.
Why, that's right. You're right. Yeah, absolutely. That's why I said it like that. I said it because it rhymes, but that's me. Bottom line is this. They only shot 36.5%. We get that. This kid, Scooter Henderson, they own him. You got to do what you got to do. Now watch this kid in these first two games. The aggression, his state, got a tough body, doesn't mind getting to the hole, got quickness, got a good handle. You understand? Got capable of making outside shots. I'm fantasizing about him, fellas, because you know me, Dame Time is going to be back next year. You understand? And I'm imagining Dame Time, Dame Dollar, Damian Lillard with that kid in the backcourt. Portland is a team to, and I mean, when you see him and what he could bring, how Chicago ever let that get away makes no sense.
And Washington.
And Washington.
They had him, had him playing.
Listen, we all know that.
Yes, the Bulls
we all know that
draft night.
We're never surprised when things don't work officially in Washington. Well, we're talking about Chicago. It's not supposed to be that way there either. But you're looking at, Avdija, along with those two, Portland, in the future, is going to be very interesting. I think they win Friday night. They go up 2-1. It forces Wemby to come back for Sunday's game because San Antonio's season will be on the line. And as a result, San Antonio goes back and ties the series 2-2 after the weekend. That is what I foreshadow.
I think the question is this. If San Antonio's cautious and all eyes are going to be on him, guys made a good point. He can't play Friday night. The NBA's going to go crazy. Yes, if they sit there and say, you know what, we got to sacrifice these two games and let him play next week, could, with Wembanyama healthy, could they win 3 in a row against the Trailblazers as a young team with that kind of pressure? I think that's the question of the series.
That's what we're looking at.
And that's to me, here's my only thing. I'm glad you brought that up. I think, not talent-wise, I think San Antonio's too young. Even though De'Aaron Fox and Harrison Barnes, it doesn't apply to the two of them. I think they're too young. Mitch Johnson, who I think has done a great job and was a top 3 coach of the year candidate, I think they're too young to overcome the 3-1. I think you have Wemby come back Sunday. You don't go back to San Antonio down 3-1.
So you don't think they can win 3 in a row?
And also remember this: for all of his gifts, he's real thin. And because of that, who's to say another injury can't happen to him? Who's to say that you can't, if he can give you
Every sentence
anything.
starts with "if healthy."
That's right.
And this was a freak thing.
freak.
This is even more freak than a collapsed lung.
That's right.
Yeah. So, but asking them to come back from 3-1, I tell you what, if they can come back from 3-1 down, and we're presuming a lot,
right,
that really would set them up in terms of energy and spirit and development. There's growth in the playoffs every series from teams like Orlando, if they stop screwing around like they did the entire regular season, from Portland. Denny Avdia.
Oh.
This kid, because he's playing in Portland, no one noticed him all season. All right, he's come up here and put up 2 big performances.
And he's an all-star.
When his team had to. And he's an all-star already.
Scoot,
amazing.
too. Scoot was in the same draft as Victor Wembanyama. I feel like we haven't said his name since he was in that draft.
Let me say to America, we going to talk about Scooter Henderson. Scooter Henderson, for years to come, I'm going to make sure we talking about him on this show. I love that kid.
The one knock against the San Antonio Spurs, why a lot of people didn't pick them to win it all, is their lack of experience, right? And so you're going on the road possibly without your generational talent. You need a veteran like De'Aaron Fox, a guy that has been in this moment, to rise to the occasion and level up. They don't need him to be popular. They need him to be powerful. One of those performances that we saw when he went toe-to-toe with Steph Curry a few years ago when he was in Sacramento, that's the type of impact he has to have, especially if they don't have Wemby and going on, because Portland is an underrated city when it comes to their fan base. It get rowdy in that arena.
Oh, interesting, Perk. I was listening to you yesterday, and you were talking about the Knicks and the Hawks, and you said, oh, when you're in Atlanta in the playoffs, it's like the club. So there are a lot of underrated cities in your eyes, but I feel like it's more than just, De'Aaron Fox. It's the entire backcourt. Because right now they're getting big performances, not just the play-in, but also the playoffs from Denny Avdia. And then you have, obviously, Scoot Henderson showing up and having those out-of-the-character and times 30-plus points. It's going to be Stephon Castle. It's going to be Devin Vassell. The whole backcourt for the Spurs have to step up. But most importantly, I really felt like they were going to eke this out. And that's why I really think that the Trailblazers stole one. Because your star player goes down. You're at home. You have one of the best fan bases excited for this moment in the playoffs. And then you just didn't have that momentum down the stretch. And you made an important stat about how they shot so well in the paint because there was no helicopter there as well. And so they have to, now, I guess sometimes when you know someone's not there, you can scheme and prepare more accordingly. But I even thought that given the circumstances that they would pull this one out, they have to understand that they lost one.
One thing that did happen was that Toumani Camara, who's an all-defensive player, he typically would have guarded Wembanyama down the stretch, and because he didn't have that assignment,
everything adjusts.
He went out to De'Aaron Fox.
Sure.
He didn't make the highlight, but he had 8 points in the fourth quarter. He actually had one of the most impactful games he's ever had. But freeing up Kamara from having to defend the interior to the perimeter is a significant difference that changes things in this series.
And we're talking about the backcourt, which is absolutely important when you're talking about a clutch player of the year needing to be able to carry the offensive load here. But there were stretches. We talked about how good Luke Cornett has been, Bobby. There were stretches down in that game where the Spurs, they decided to go with no center out there. And they were outscored by 7 in those minutes. So when Luke Cornett's not on the floor and Victor's not on the floor, where do you think San Antonio needs to adjust?
It turns into a jump shooting team. There's no points in the paint, and what you saw with Portland was they went to a more athletic center in Robert Williams, and they took Donovan Clingan out the game, and that really kind of changed the dynamics there. So I think, how do you combat that if you're the Spurs there? It's similar we saw with the Denver series. You get tired legs, you start to be a jump shooting team here, and that's something that happened. I'll say this. For Portland, I'm going to throw a number out, number 40. 40 is the number of possessions that closing unit played all season long here.
Wow.
And if we're going to give flowers out, I'm giving it to Tiago Splitter, their coach, who has really pushed all the right buttons, not just during the regular season, but certainly in the play-in and also in Game 2.
And coaching through sort of a strange situation right now as well. Before we move on elsewhere in the Western Conference, Scoot has been the MVP of this series for the Blazers.
Well, Denny Avdia had an awesome Game 1, but yesterday, he had no points in the fourth quarter. Scoot Henderson was a difference-making player yesterday, no doubt.
Absolutely. And this has been a long time coming for Scoot, who's dealt with a lot of injuries in his career. All right.